It's Monday, the 8th of June. My name's Juan Brown. You're watching the Blanco Lirio channel, and it's time for a quick update on the tragic loss of Pakistan Flight 8303, Pakistan International Airlines in Karachi, Pakistan, here recently. We've got a letter from the CAA, the Civil Aviation Authority of Pakistan, and it's a violation, non-compliance of ATC instructions by the pilot in command of Pakistan International Airlines Flight 8303. This is the air traffic controller's report basically on what he saw when he was working Flight 8303 on its ill-fated attempt to land into Karachi. And this corroborates to a great degree the ADS-B data that I've already been reporting on. By the way, the BEA in France has successfully downloaded the data from both the voice recorder, the cockpit voice recorder, and the aircraft data recorder, and it will have a preliminary report on that data out soon, and we'll be reporting on that here on the Blanco Lirio channel. So this report was dated on the 2nd of June. Violation, non-compliance of ATC instructions by the PIC, the pilot in command of Pakistan International Airlines Flight 8303. 1. Duty approach controller raised a non-compliance report in respect of captain of PIA 8303 that on the 22nd of May 2020, this aircraft and registration from Lahore to Karachi was cleared to altitude 3,000 feet while entering control zone 25 nautical miles away from the airport, but observed high on approach at Makli, M-A-K-L-I, capital letters. This is, I believe this is a GPS waypoint. I cannot find Makli on any of the Jeppesen approach plates that I have for Karachi, because I'm working with out-of-date instrument approach plates. There's also a town of Makli in Pakistan, but it's some 56 miles away from Karachi. So if anybody has any current jet plates for Karachi and can find this waypoint Makli, that'd be a big help if you could post that for us. And regardless, he's saying this report isn't the most detailed. At 25 nautical miles, if we look at the ADS-B data, this aircraft, if you convert the miles to time, this aircraft is in excess of 10,000 feet, 25 nautical miles out. Remember the 3-to-1 rule. Every 3 miles away from the airport, you should be just 1,000 feet above the ground. So at 10,000 feet, you should be about 30 miles away from the airport. The same was communicated to the pilot who reported comfortable for descent. Later, at 10 nautical miles, was again cautioned by offering an orbit to adjust his high altitude for approach, which he did not accept by saying comfortable with the descent. Remember, at 9 nautical miles, you should be about 3,000 feet above the ground. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. Paragraph 2. Approach controller further added, and this is the controller's testimony. When aircraft was 7 nautical mile from touchdown, runway 25 left, passing 5,200 feet, he should be down closer to 2,000 feet. We'll take a look at the instrument approach plates and show you specifically. It was relatively high as per the standard approach profile. I instructed pilot twice to discontinue approach and turn left heading 180, which he did not comply and continued to proceed towards runway 25 left, with his own discretion to establish ILS approach 25 left. I again warned the aircraft at 5 nautical miles from touchdown, which was passing 3,500 feet. He should be down closer to 1,200 feet. He's more than twice as high as he should be at this point on the approach. At 04 nautical miles, the aircraft was observed approaching 1,300 feet, so he got down from 3,500 feet to 1,300 feet in just about a mile. This is where we reported earlier. The ADS-B data indicates that the nose dropped to a vertical descent rate of over 7,000 feet per minute. Again, at 04 nautical mile, aircraft was observed approaching 1,300 feet with a ground speed of 250 knots. At this point, you need to be close to or on approach speed. which is more like about 120 to 130 knots. Aircraft was observed passing the runway threshold at a ground speed of 210 knots. And we reported on that earlier. Again, over the threshold, you got to be on approach speed, closer to 120 knots. So a full 100 knots too fast, too hot. Paragraph 3. Later, PIA 8303 lifted up from the surface of the runway and crashed over Model Colony while attempting a second approach for runway 25 left. That's after both engines failed. Paragraph 4. For information and further necessary actions to ensure avoidance of recurrence of such situations in the interest of flight safety. So, again, high and hot, very extremely unstable approach, should have been knocked off. The only critique I have of this is here in the States, most people say go around. If you hear the words go around, most air crews just automatically react to the go around call and they sort out the reason for the call later on. A left turn to 180 degrees is a little less direct way of approaching the same problem. Now let's take a closer look at the approach plates, the out-of-date approach plates, and see exactly what we're talking about. Again, here's the ADS-B data with the brown line showing a normal ILS approach into Karachi and the blue line showing the flight path of Flight 8303. Unfortunately, this data only goes out about 4 minutes, where the aircraft is over 10,000 feet, which at 250 knots translates to about 16 miles out. Remember, the aircraft should be 30 miles out when coming through 10,000 feet and slowing from 250 knots down towards 180 knots. Here's an out-of-date copy of a minimum vectoring altitude chart for Karachi. Min vectoring altitude is the lowest altitude an air traffic controller can bring IFR traffic and keep clear of the terrain. For this aircraft's direction of flight, we can see that once he's inside of 25 DME from Karachi, the flight can be safely vectored down to 3,000 feet. Note also in the upper left-hand corner of the chart, the transition altitude in Pakistan is 3,000 feet. The transition level is 5,000 feet. What this transition altitude and transition level means is that when you take off from the local airport there in Pakistan, you set your local altimeter setting so that your altimeter reads the proper airport elevation. In Pakistan, the IFR rules are such that by the time you climb through 5,000 feet, you set standard altimeter setting in your altimeter, in this case 1013 hectopascals, and you maintain that standard setting in your altimeter all the way until which time that you descend back through 3,000 feet, and then you reset the local altimeter setting. In this case, according to the METAR, it was 1004 hectopascals. This keeps IFR traffic all separated on the same sheet of music, altitude-wise, using the same standard altimeter setting of 1013. Here in the States, this is all done at 29.92 inches of mercury, and the transition level here in the States is 18,000 feet, or flight level 180. Switching the altimeter from standard 1013 hectopascals to local altimeter setting of 1004 hectopascals would only be a difference of about 232 feet. Flight 8303 was off altitude by an order of thousands of feet. Here's the ILS into 25 left in Karachi, outdated instrument approach plate. The DME, or the distance from the airport, is measured along the bottom of the profile view in cumulative numbers here, and you can read the DME along the different waypoints along the ILS. So at the glide slope intercept here at 6.3 DME, the aircraft should be at 2,100 feet, capturing the glide slope. The controller stated that at 7 DME, the aircraft was at 5,200 feet. Well, at 7 DME, that aircraft should be approaching 2,100 feet, or the glide slope intercept. At 5 nautical miles, the controller reported the aircraft was at 3,500 feet. Well, here at 5 nautical miles, on glide slope, the aircraft should be at 1,680 feet. Then the controller reported that the aircraft was down to 1,300 feet, or almost on glide slope, at 4 nautical miles, indicating a huge nose pushover, but was achieving 250 knots, a full 130 knots too fast. Finally crossing the runway threshold at 210 knots, when a nominal approach speed for an Airbus A320 would be more on the order of 120 to 130 knots. So I'll post a link to this letter in the comment section below. I'm going to post this on Patreon and wait until which time that YouTube decides to demonetize or monetize this content before posting this to a wider audience on YouTube. Because of ongoing problems with YouTube's demonetization policy, I'm going to be posting this content on the Patreon channel and waiting for the green monetization light to come on, before which time I post it on YouTube and turn the ads on. So to that end, I've gone ahead and set up a $1 per month tier on Patreon to allow folks to access these updates as soon as I put them out, because these are timely updates. This news happens fast, it gets posted quickly, but it's going to take the YouTube machine a while to run through the algorithms before they monetize this content. So it may be a day, 2, 3, or 4 before some of this content appears on YouTube outside of Patreon. So $1 a month gets you access to all this that I'm uploading as I upload it, and it also gives folks that are already on Patreon, if they've lost their jobs or financial hardship, they can drop back down to that $1 per month level and still get this information. Thank you again so much for your support. See you here.